The new topic in the machine design 2 is the equivalent load. Now in the bearing, equivalent load plays a very important role. In the previous slide, we have learned about the dynamic loading condition. There are two types of dynamic loading condition, that is the radial and the thrust. This is radial and this is the thrust load. Okay. Now this radial and thrust load cannot be considered directly. So what we do, we all learn the mechanics and strength of material. So we resolve these two forces, that is which is acting in the vertical and the horizontal direction, and we convert it in a one forces, and that force is known as the equivalent load. So that hypothetical load can be compared with the dynamic load capacity, and that is nothing but the dynamic load. This is the expression used for the dynamic load, that is P is equal to x VFR plus y FA, where P is the equivalent load, that is the dynamic load, and the FR is the radial load, FA is the axial or the thrust load, V is the race rotation factor. It is depend on something. We will see it. X and Y are radial and thrust factors. All these things which will get in the manufacturing catalog. Let's So the race rotation factor depends on whether the inner race is rotating or the outer race is rotating. The value is 1 when the inner race is rotate, and while the outer rote is stationary. And value is 1.2 for the V when the outer race is rotating with respect to load while the inner race remains stationary. This is the value of V. Okay. And the same thing, we consider that V and the inner race is rotating. So V will be 1. So equation will become P is equal to XFR plus YFA. So just depend on these two factors. Now V should be considered in special case where the outer race is rotating. So if load only radial load is there, because we have seen in the types of bearing that if only axial load or only thrust load is there, at that time P is equal to FR. So dynamic load will be equivalent to one load only. When two different types of loads are acting, at that time only we need to take it in the consideration. When only one load is there, then it is equivalent to the dynamic load. Same thing for the thrust load. Now the x and y factor for a single row. This is the table for it, for the x and y factor. First we need to find out the FA upon C0, and then FA upon FR. If it is greater than or equal to E, this is the value of E. Just check the value of E, and if it is greater, we can use this table. Sorry, if E is greater, at that time we can use this table. If E is less, at that time we have to use this table. So based on that, you will get going to design it. So this is the table of bearing, that is the manufacturing catalog, that is depend on diameter of a bearing. This is the inner diameter, this is the outer diameter, this is the width, this is the dynamic load, and this is the static load, and this is the designation of a bearing. I have made one lecture on a designation of a bearing also, why this number and what this number designates us. So we will see in that part. Okay, so this is all with the equivalent load.